Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner of the Rittners Floral School in Boston, Mass. It's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today because we've got a really neat program planned for you. It's spring, and we're going to play with some daffodils. Of course, we're going to play with a few other things too, but daffodils are going to be in everything that we create in today's presentation, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's going to be a fun one, fast-moving one, and I think you can see that we're already starting off in a very interesting way. We've got a kind of triangular-shaped container, and we're going to do something very interesting in this triangular-shaped container. Now, I'm not going to start with my daffs. I'm going to start with this. Now, this is a very interesting material. This stuff is called Xanadu. Xanadu happens to be a foliage. It's in the philodendron family. It's an import from Israel, and it's been brought to us courtesy of the folks of Blooming of Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. And it is a very neat product. And using some of our Xanadu, well, adds a touch of class and interest to no matter what we make. And so by taking some of our Xanadu and by cutting it down and using it as a framework, we're coming up with something that I think you're going to find to be interesting even before we add a single daff to our design. Now, I did say that this was going to be fun with some daffodils, and we're definitely going to create and use some of our daffs in our designing. Daffs always mean that springtime is here and that we're really going to enjoy the fact that warm weather has finally arrived, especially here in the Northeast. And we're going to take a few of our daffs and work it in. This is definitely a design that is contemporary in feeling. And by working some of our flowers in here, notice how it's bright, it's cheerful, and it definitely reflects the time of the year and the fact that during the springtime, things are great. And so we're taking some of our daffs and we're working it in. They're bright, and they're definitely bringing our eye in towards the center part of the design. It doesn't take very many of them. And notice how this is filling it very nicely. So notice that with 3 of our Xanadu leaves from Blooming and Beloit and a few of our daffs, look at the effect that we're going to get. Of course, I want to make this feel a little bit wilder. So let's take some of our curly willow and work some of our curly willow in here as well. And notice that with a few pieces of curly willow, it's going to add a little more vibrancy to our design. These designs are quick and easy and fun to do, and as you can see, at Rittners Floral School, we like to play with some of the latest approaches and styles in terms of our designing. I want to cover my mechanics, and so I'm going to take a little bit of Spanish moss and hairpin it in because it's always considered good form to cover your mechanics in a design. What do you think, my viewer? Quick, easy, fun. And we had some fun with some of our daffodils in a very contemporary piece. Well, let's see what else we can do in terms of fun with daffodils. Well, let's see. Let me put this to one side. I thought you guys may like this. I made this up just beforehand. Another design incorporating some of our daffs. This one's a water-based design. Notice the Xanadu foliage here, some of our daffs here and here. This is green trichdianthus. It's an incredible product, also brought in from Israel by the folks of Blooming and Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. Our infrastructure here is water-based, and we've got some of the wonderful wire products, the aluminum decorative wire, in order to create our infrastructure here. Here's another one using the same kind of thing. Very easy to make, easy to achieve. And I, again, made this one up just before doing this demonstration. Here again, let me move this out of the way so you can see it clearly. Again, using some of our Xanadu foliage here and here, a piece coming out over here, one over here, and then just taking a couple of clusters of our daffodils and throwing one here and one over here. The infrastructure in our glassware, again, is curly willow in this particular case, kind of creating a way that we can hold these things up and making them stay for us, and a little curly willow shooting out of the top. Aren't these things incredible? Again, once we start playing with some of these wonderful materials, our Xanadu, our curly willow, and especially with our great daffodils, we can come up with some really cool things that you can have fun with and show off to your family and to your friends. Well, I've made one and I've showed you a couple. Let's make another one. And I've got here a very shallow container. It's got a couple of pinholders in it. And when we're playing with some of our daffodils, they're always fun when they're combined with other things. And so let's take a couple of our iris and place a few iris here. And I'm going to take another little bit of iris and place a little bit more. I have several pin holders or kenzen in this space. Place another one over on this side, and then another one a little bit shorter. That's an interesting start. We also have some pieces of foliage and stem left from our iris. So let's place one over here. That gives us a little bit of a backing to that. And I don't like to waste anything, so let's take a stemming over here and work it over on that side. Now, of course, you're wondering, when's he going to use the daffodils? Well, time to get out the old clippers and cut some daffodils down, and we're going to work some daffodils in here as well. But my daffodils in this particular case I'm going to use as a focal area, because daffs can be used for all kinds of things. We can use them for linear effects, but they also make a great focal flower as well. And I'm just cutting a few down here, and I'm using it as a focal point right on this side. And I'm going to do the exact same thing in terms of cutting it down and creating a focal area over on this side as well. So you notice we're playing with different media with our daffodil in today's demonstration. We've played a little bit with some of our daffs in foam. We played a little bit with some of our daffs in water-based. And now we're using a pinholder solution to come up with an interesting effect. Some more curly willow. You never can go wrong with curly willow. Anytime you want to create an interesting kind of wild look to your design, curly willow always does it very, very effectively for us. And again, I'm taking a couple of pieces of curly willow and I am going to impale them in my pinholder or kenzen to give kind of a wild effect to it. Well, what do you think, my viewer? Fun? Easy? Of course. That's the Rittner Floral School way. We thank you for coming in and visiting us here at Rittners Floral School in Boston, Mass. We hope you enjoyed this brief presentation showing you how you can have fun using daffodils, mixing them with some of our Xanadu, our curly willow, our iris to come up with some incredible results. Our thanks again to the folks at Blooming and Belloid for the Xanadu foliage brought in from Israel. We hope you enjoyed this particular presentation, and we thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.